Hello guys, it is I, the Supreme Intelligence, also known as the Ultimate Joker.
It's cucks like you who enjoy this kind of shit. You know, that's literally what cuck means. It's like you see someone else doing that to your woman and you enjoy it. It's something you're into. So that's legitimately what you are. No, you're a cuck. They're victims to this whole progressive nonsense. You're the fucking cuck.
Imagine being called a cuck because you don't like something.
What the hell?
I call people whatever the hell I want. It's pretty simple. I do not really care.
I'm doing what?
The reason why I didn't include his channel is because I don't want people to go attack him.
So what is he doing right now? He's literally attacking some commenter who enjoyed the video. So no, he's not just a cuck, he's a parasitic cuck, so the worst of the cucks. I actually prefer his like fake nerdy voice over his actual voice because at least his nerdy voice isn't a fucking cuck voice.
Dude, look man, doesn't need it.
There you go. We're giving you criticism for your shitty ass YouTube channel with your disingenuous ass takes, and you're probably not gonna learn from them. You just seem like an all-around disingenuous and cucked person.
Hey, what's up guys? How you doing? Look, this is the final video I'm gonna make about this. Insomniac Spider-Man wasn't nerfed in Marvel Spider-Man 2. I'm not making another video about this, but I felt obligated to make this one since the last one seemed to be controversial to some people. Let's get this out of the way first. I thought I was being respectable by not showing his name because he attacked a whole fan base calling them cucks. I know it was easy to find him. I even say that in the pinned comment, and even with me showing the title of another video he's worked on, showing his thumbnail in the title, and then accidentally showing his name in the pinned comment, which surprisingly nobody mentioned. And some people in the comments even showing what his channel name was, and even himself. I was trying my best to avoid hate coming this way because I thought that was a respectable thing to do. I called him an idiot because of his illogical point, and a loser for how he treats the fans of a video game. I don't like Ultimate Joker, but I don't want harassment towards him, nor do I want people going into his comment sections giving him shit. I know that's unavoidable, but the best you can do is try, and that's what I was trying to do. Here's what was said on the topic.
Okay, so he's excusing not giving you credit for your video by playing using the moral high ground argument, like, oh, I don't want to hurt his feelings, I don't want to like use my fan base to attack his channel. It's like, no, you just don't want to credit him. You don't want more people seeing that video because you know that, I haven't even watched this video yet, but you know that you've chopped it up into little pieces so that you can remove things from their context. And if people go back to that video and watch it, then you know that they'll know that you are full of shit.
From all the points listed where you can find his channel, it's pretty obvious where to find it, and there's multiple ways to find it. There's going to be hate towards this video either way I put it, even if I give a logical explanation to something, so let's just get this done with. I'm mostly going to go over Kit and Asfan's video, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, which is supposedly a non-bias to either side, which I wish was the case. He mentions this here, but I don't understand because isn't Green Goblin an enhanced human? Isn't Doc Ock an enhanced human? Isn't Martin Lee an enhanced human? So you shouldn't be able to die by these guys by your logic then either, right?
I feel like I shouldn't have to say it, but this comparison is just not real at all. Sure, you can say they're enhanced humans, but the difference is all these villains you just listed didn't come as close to killing Peter in these scenes as Kraven did in this scene. That's the problem you seem to be ignoring. Spider-Man actively fights the other guys and wins on his own. Spider-Man did get stabbed by Goblin in that scene in No Way Home, but he wasn't gonna die from it. He walks that piece off.
Okay, but the point he was making was that he shouldn't be able to die to an enhanced human. I literally just put clips of him fighting some enhanced humans. I wasn't mentioning the clips, I just had them in the background, not even really thinking about it. But still, he's essentially saying he shouldn't be able to die by any of these guys, which why shouldn't he be able to?
Crispy here is aware the power scaling is ridiculous. He says so himself. So he's willingly rejecting the complaint that Kraven, a normal dude with training, shouldn't be this strong to begin with.
I'm willingly rejecting it because this is a superhuman world. Who's to say this man can't be this strong? We have people getting bit by spiders, lifting cars, and aliens from another world. Why is it so hard to believe a normal human being this strong? Go back to Batman like in my first video. He shouldn't even be able to do a lot of the things he's doing. It just doesn't make any sense why this isn't completely out of the question. I even make the same complaint with Silver Sable. Silver Sable is able to jump Spider-Man. How is it possible? It's a superhuman world. That's how.
Another thing he uses is this different versions of the character have different levels of strength argument, which is obvious, but that's not the point.
It's not an argument, it's a point. He was comparing Web of Shadows Peter to Insomniac Peter. How can you not say that's a point?
Perfect example. While this game tries to go super hard out of its way to point out that Kraven is a normal person person, yet stronger than a man who can lift cars somehow. Spectacular Spider-Man makes it a point that Kraven, at worst, will just give Spider-Man a hard afternoon before he gets home. Spider-Man in this show struggles a bit, but takes Kraven down pretty smoothly.
Okay, yes, that means the power scaling is different for those two versions of the character. Kraven and Spectacular might be at peak human, but how do we know if Insomniac's version of the character wasn't at peak human? These are superhero worlds where anything can happen, man.
I don't know why you're bringing up the time frame of the events of Spectacular compared to this game's, as if that helps. This isn't even a counter argument, you're just saying things.
I was basically trying to say that Spectacular had more time to develop that than Insomniac's version.
In between the first meet and the final confrontation, the relationship between Tombstone and Spider-Man is meant to be complicated. Sure, he wasn't direct friends with Spider-Man, but they did work together with their goals aligned.
I'll actually agree with some of your points here, but he does say this.
You frighten criminals off the street entirely, except when you're off battling the likes of the Rhino. Then the big man's profitable army of petty thugs think themselves beneath the Spider-Man's notice.
So, as long as I keep fighting crime, you'll keep making bigger and badder...
Now you're learning.
Tombstone doesn't kill Spider-Man right away because he literally wants Spider-Man to work for him. He makes him an offer to ignore crimes that Tombstone gives the nod on, and he'll pay him for it. So I don't know why you even asked this when in the same scene you're looking at, there's an answer right in front of you.
I actually think that's a great point that he would want him as an asset, but he just seemed like a more of a problem than anything, so that was my logic behind it, but your point is actually really good.
Spider-Man never beats this guy without the symbiote. We never see Kraven get overpowered by anything except the symbiote, so therefore those shitty shorts have no real proof of Spider-Man being stronger.
We never see Symbiote Spidey beat Kraven without the symbiote, so that means he couldn't do it, is basically what you're saying?
No, that's not what he said at all. He's saying that since the symbiote was the only thing involved towards Kraven getting fucked up in these games' cutscenes, there's no real fair proof within the game that says otherwise. Sure, we can assume that he can lose to things besides the symbiote, but that's an assumption.
There's no real fair proof that within Spectacular Spider-Man, Spider-Man can't beat all of the 6 on his own without the symbiote or chameleon, so that means he can't do it. All we can do is assume, so we can't prove it. Miles was outsmarting and beating Miguel in Across the Spider-Verse, and just from this evidence alone, we can conclude that Miles can beat Spider-Man 29. That's not an assumption, by the way, that's just a fact. Because we have no real fair proof that he can't beat Miles. It happened in the movie, remember, no proof. Try and argue otherwise. Miguel only lost to Miles, and that means he's the only one that can beat him. Just look at the movie. We don't see it, there's no proof. That's dumb because we can make assumptions and look at them from a logical standpoint. That's exactly what you did with the Gaming Risk video. You just didn't want to look at it from a logical standpoint. Instead, you just seemed to go, well, it didn't happen in the game, so it doesn't matter. Just because the symbiote is the only thing that's taking him down doesn't mean nothing can take him down, but we're only showed the symbiote doing it, so it must be proof.
Joker here isn't saying that because he did something with the black suit, it instantly means he can't do so without it. The problem is the fact that he was never able to get anything done before without the symbiote or some other third party to help him out.
So wait, your problem is that he had to get help from a third party in this game, whether it be Miles, the symbiote suit, or the anti-venom suit. So that just means he can't do anything on his own. I don't know if you looked at the threats he's facing. I don't know why this is dodged so oftenly. No one mentions the bigger threats in this game compared to the first, and even in the first game he was still getting beaten up quite a bit.
I'm also really not liking the Spider-Man 3 slander here. I get that it wasn't a great movie, but damn.
I actually really love Spider-Man 3, and I actually like it more than the first Iron Man. Don't kill me. I liked this movie a lot when I was younger. It was actually my favorite Spider-Man movie growing up. I even wore the Raimi black suit a couple of times on Halloween just because I thought it was cooler than the red suit. And then I actually have these flops here from when I was younger. But back then I only liked it because Venom equals cool and Sandman equals cool.
Spider-Man didn't lose his first fight against Sandman.
He did lose. He got beat up. He didn't capture the bad guy, and the bad guy got away. I would count that as... Did it not make his fight easier? He doesn't absolutely need it. He's beaten lizards before without it.
Actually, no, as you can see, it didn't make things easier. The city was actively getting destroyed as Spider-Man chased down the lizard while dealing with the hunters. If that's easy to you, I wonder what you consider hard.
It did make things easier though. He's been using it to hold back lizard and it's shown to be able to pin him to the ground, and he did a ton more things with it. If he was in the same situation with the red suit, it would have made the fight harder because the tendrils seemed to be really powerful. I know this is the most controversial topic that Peter should have beaten Miles, and I think the Gaming Rift has a better explanation of how Miles won, and I'll show that now because he can explain it way better than I can, and he actually has some really amazing points.
Yeah, I really don't care about whatever explanation you want to hit me with on this. You can make excuses and explanations behind events that happen all you want, but it doesn't help. We have what we have.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're going the no real proof route. Well, if there's no exact evidence in the game itself, we can't assume it. You're right, there has to be exact evidence. There's no proof Raimi Spider-Man didn't die by the Green Goblin, so Spider-Man just can't die by him. There's no exact evidence. Peter was pinned down by Mr. Negative under some debris in basically the same situation, because guess what? He got caught off guard, and no one complained about that scene.
Yeah, no one complained because he got back up just fine and fought like a badass.
I actually cut it. It's actually much longer than that.
Here he gets back up, tosses the fridge, and then looks at Venom taking MJ and just does nothing. This is Spider-Man, and he watches this guy wrap his tendrils and drag his girlfriend away and does nothing. I don't care what anyone says. Any better version of Spider-Man would have lunged like hell at Venom and been ready to rip his head off for even touching MJ, Harry or not.
It's because if he lunges at him, he thinks he might kill MJ. But that didn't happen. There's no real proof that it did. Silly me making assumptions that are logical.
Spider-Man gets to stay badass and beats a bunch of symbiotes and a black cat that got infected with the symbiote.
I mean, this is a weird situation with Web of Shadows.
It's not.
Okay, I was wrong about this because the reason he did that was because she was going after Mary Jane. So he's reacting off his emotions. But was this fight badass? We're shown very little of it. So how are we supposed to compare these two situations? How do we know if Spider-Man wasn't holding back the whole time? We don't. There's gameplay in between. And if anyone says gameplay matters...
This guy is so bad at making a counterpoint. Who cares if you don't have a problem with it? The issue is that Spider-Man's not even putting up a fight in cutscenes or doing much in this, let alone the rest of the game.
Why do you act like it's just Venom beating him up the whole time? Peter put up as much as a fight as he could. Man, those 8-year-olds must be some cucks for enjoying this game, right?
This was actually your golden opportunity to make a solid counterpoint. Hell, I don't even agree with what Joker said there, but you've handled it in the worst way possible by just dismissing it passively without even engaging. All you had to do was point out that no 8-year-old really cares about that, or point out that how those side missions are just optional and shouldn't matter. Anything would have been better than nothing.
Honestly, I was just making a joke because he called the fan base cucks, and he says 8-year-olds are the fan base, so he's basically just calling a bunch of 8-year-olds some cucks. It's not that deep. All the threats he was facing in this game were shown to be higher than in the first game.
So does that now mean he's just incapable of taking them on? And I'm sorry, all the threats in this game are higher than those in the previous? Mysterio, Kraven, Lizard, you're telling me they're all bigger threats than Electro or the 2v1s he dealt with in the last game that are absent from this game? Yeah, somehow I don't see that.
Okay, I made this entire section on bigger threats compared to the first game and the only ones Peter has fought, not Miles since you mentioned Mysterio. He's dealing with bigger threats in this game and that's why he's getting folded more. He wasn't nerfed. So we have Kraven who has beaten most of the Sinister Six. It's unknown if he killed all of them, but still an impressive feat. Spider-Man seems to be able to take them out in packs of 2 with ease with 14 broken bones, with him being at a disadvantage. It's hard to say if he had trouble with other members. He didn't have trouble with Electro nor Scorpion, so one would assume that he didn't have trouble with the others. And I know what you're going to say, there's no real proof. Well, Spider-Man said that Electro actually scares him the most just because of the amount of raw power he has. But Kraven was able to take him down with ease.
This one is a waste of my precious remaining time. Weak of body and mind.
He's also able to hold his own against Symbiote Spider-Man and Venom, which is insanely impressive, especially against Venom, as I'm about to mention his feats. Kraven is a strong threat. He even uses prep time to his advantage. He is classified as a bigger threat. Symbiote Spider-Man was able to hold down Lizard and beat Kraven even with his weakness at hand. Venom is able to lift up an entire school with his tendrils, or maybe it was just the football field, I actually don't know. But still insanely impressive, is faster than Miles and Peter, he can mitigate other people's spider senses, can make wings to fly, attack at any range with the symbiotes, and much more. I honestly think he could beat the entire Sinister Six with ease. He is classified as a bigger threat. Lizard is a crazy threat, even going against Symbiote Spider-Man, and it's even said this Lizard is getting bigger by Miles. We have no information on their fight in the first game, besides he was able to fight him and make him drink the cure as the Lizard. He is classified as a bigger threat. Sandman, I feel, is an obvious answer. He's shown to be city level, which I'm pretty sure none of the six were. He is a higher threat. Scream, we can see him not giving it his all, even talking down to her, and he's holding back significantly. And even if that's not the case, he hasn't slept since he went on the symbiote rampage on the bench. So he's fought Kraven, fought Miles, got knocked by Venom, and has been dealing with a bunch of symbiotes, and you guys still complain about that fridge. Scream can be considered a high threat considering the low tier of symbiotes are still very strong, and Peter was holding back in his fight. Wraith is the same case where Spider-Man is holding back significantly against her, and we don't even see the fight that much because there's gameplay in between, so this is a low threat that he still technically ended up winning. Here's all the bosses and why most of them are more powerful in this game. This I know will be ignored, but here you go anyway.
I will repeat again, he can hold back while still looking superior in the fight. Like Insomniac, Chris Beat isn't capable of understanding that a fight scene doesn't have to be overly one-sided. All you have to do is just have the fight end with Spider-Man holding back but also outplaying Wraith hand to hand. Why is this so hard?
This is really hard to determine in a video game. Who knows if Peter used most of his skills in his fight? There's gameplay in between. All we see is the beginning and the ending.
Keep pressure on it until I can... This path you're on never ends well, Yuri. Trust me.
Trust you? What about you trusting me?
Yuri.
Rhino is a weird case because, yeah, he's not able to defeat him 1v1, and even Spider-Man himself says that Rhino is stronger than him, and Spider-Man was even able to beat Scorpion and Rhino at the same time, but I think it really depended on the environment they were in, and that's why he lost.
Oh, okay, so now we're just straight up just discrediting Spider-Man's better accomplishments in order to make up for his inconsistent failures in this game? Bro's using whatever excuse he possibly can in order to explain why Spider-Man's looking weaker in damn near every cutscene.
My Rhino argument was wrong, and that was just me not looking at the full context, but your argument is just dumb. I wasn't discrediting his accomplishments, I was saying that he would have a harder time dealing with him if he's just running around everywhere. We can even compare this to Spectacular, where Spider-Man is trying to find somewhere where there's no civilians around and was getting his ass handed to him, compared to when he lured him into a contained area and beat him. The environment does matter in a fight, it's just a fact. Also, my Rhino argument was wrong because he actually barely did anything against Scorpion and Rhino. They just started arguing, and then it leads to Rhino charging after Scorpion and them getting locked into a container. And to be fair, some of his fights he shouldn't even be walking away from objectively.
I would love to hear which ones he shouldn't be walking away from objectively. Please, I'm waiting for it. Can you outline the difference yourself? Spectacular Spider-Man gets folded, but he still gets back up when he's down on his own. Insomniac Spider-Man does not do this.
Oh no.
A few moments later.
They're ugly.
Hey, O'Hearn, this is kind of fun, me and you, right? Just like old times.
Only now we're kicking his tail.
Nope.
I would love to hear which ones he shouldn't be walking away from objectively. Please, I'm waiting for it. But it's here where he goes on this huge ramble about how people who view things like this are just assholes for looking at it this way, I guess.
Imagine being called a fan and not even really giving any reasons to how they misunderstood the characters. Give me reasons and they'll be proven wrong. Nope, I don't. The whole thing was me talking about toxic Spider-Man fans, which was a different part of the video. Then he, cut out the context of what I had to say before, which I was talking about a comment that was comparing other versions of the characters and basically him just saying he's the worst adaptation of Spider-Man without giving any reason.
I don't think Insomniac is the worst portrayal, but I do want to once again outline the main point of this entire criticism that people seem to want to ignore. This version of Spider-Man has no right to be labeled the most skilled version, on par with Arkham's Batman.
And I'm not saying that, and the reason I'm not saying that is because he's dealing with bigger threats later on in his career.
Not when he's losing to normal people with training and no powers.
Again, I don't understand why this is a problem. This is again a superhuman world where the Avengers actually exist. Well, maybe because they never want to appear. But you can't say that a normal human that is this strong or intelligent can't exist in a world like this because we don't know the limits. And there's most likely no limit just because the writers can do whatever they want with a fictional character. Are you going to go look at One Punch Man that's trained to be basically peak human and be like, well, he shouldn't be able to do that in this fictional world just because he's trained that hard? No, you're going to be like, well, this is a fictional world, so who cares at the end of the day? Because writers can give any limit they want.
There are a lot of aspects to Peter's character I feel that Insomniac did fine with, but I attribute those mostly to the previous games, which handled his showcase of skill way better than this one.
Okay, you know what? I'll agree that it wasn't showcasing the game as much as in the first game, but I don't feel that just made him nerfed. This is really hard to determine in a video game. Who knows if Peter used most of his skills in his fight? There's gameplay in between. All we see is the beginning and the ending. Web of Shadows actually does this too at some points.
Sent something with claws. Just get it down, Logan. How was your trip? You sound as irritating as Spider-Man, but you don't smell right. You're one of them. One of who? Wait, you can smell the... Yeah, and you're one of them, bub. Hold on, bub. Nice move, bringing your pals along. Oh, no. Don't go away now. We can keep doing this, or you can help me. I don't know how you're doing it, but I guess you can control this parasite. I don't recall inviting you, Parker. What are you doing to these people? Don't you believe adoption, Parker? After all, you're the mommy. Kids, come in, Parker. Show Parker how much we love him. Here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Gross. Parker, you took away part of us, and that just made us stronger. We've grown. Eddie, that's not right. Eddie, we don't listen to Eddie.
He also has another video saying Insomniac Spider-Man isn't comic book accurate, and I'm not even going to bother with that video because the title says enough.
Are you willing to engage or not? He says he wants to hear people out on this not being a great version of Peter, but within seconds, he shows he doesn't want to listen to what someone else has to say based on the title.
Yes, because I thought the title was really funny. Insomniac Spider-Man isn't comic book accurate. Well, neither are the Ultimate Spider-Man. What about Spider-Man Unlimited? He's not comic book accurate. And that's okay, as long as you're getting down to the core of the characters, comic book accuracy doesn't matter. Christopher Nolan's Batman isn't comic book accurate. Is that a problem? Of course not, because again, it got to the core of the character. Venom didn't unfortunately get to the core of the character in my opinion in this game, which is why I'm not too huge of a fan of him. Spectacular does both well, it gets down to the core of the characters, but made certain changes to the characters. Gwen is nothing like her comic counterpart, but they still captured the core of the character. Comic book accuracy is awesome to have, I love it, but it shouldn't just be enforced upon all versions of every character. That would be boring. Nothing's wrong with something not being comic book accurate.
He then rambles about how toxic the Spider-Man community is, and his receipts for that are brain-rotting takes on Twitter and YT comments. He goes on about this for a while, and he's not entirely wrong, but I gotta ask, who are you fighting here? You're taking the worst complaints and comparing them to a criticism someone else made that had actual receipts to back his points up.
I'm not comparing them, this is a different part of the video. I'm just showing how toxic the community can be. This is totally separate from what Joker was arguing. He is in that toxic fan base though by calling the game's fandom cucks because he doesn't enjoy this version of Spider-Man.
Look, we all clearly like Spider-Man. If you clicked on this, you probably have a love for the character as well. And when there's criticisms towards his games, comics, movies, or shows, or whatever, usually it's coming from a place of wanting that media to be a lot better. Why? Well, I don't know about you, but as a fan of Spider-Man, I hold his media to a higher standard because I want him to have the best game of the year.
Yeah, I agree. I think the medium should be set to a higher regard. I'm not saying it shouldn't. All I thought was Peter wasn't nerfed, and that doesn't mean I'm just ignoring the story as average, because the story did have things they could have handled better, like I've said before. But there's still things I liked in this story, and Peter was one of them. This video was never about the story. I love every version of the character, whether it be live action films, animated games, or the comic. They are all fantastic in their own way. They have bad stuff in those, and I'm not saying that that shouldn't be criticized, but all of them captured the core of the character, and Peter can even act out of character in some of those stories. And that's why I'm not too big of a fan of Ultimate Spider-Man, but it can still capture his core sometimes. I don't even like the writing in that show 80% of the time. I only like a couple of stories, but I appreciate it when it does capture the core.
I'm going to finish it. Finish him. He took my father from me. Forever. You don't know how that feels.
I do, actually. Someone important was taken from me, too. I lost someone special to me for no reason at all. Just like you, I had an opportunity for revenge. I had the guy who did it cornered, helpless. I could have finished him right there. But I realized it wouldn't have changed what happened. Worse, I would have become as bad as the creep who took him from me. He always said, I could choose what kind of man I wanted to be. I chose to walk away. To be better. To be Spider-Man. That amulet doesn't define who you are.
Long story short, you can separate the story from Peter himself. They're not one and the same. I love this adaptation of Spider-Man even knowing he's a weaker version of the character in both games. Now, I'm not really fully gonna go over Ultimate Joker's new video on me, but I will point out things that I just find to be dumb or maybe even find something that I agree with just because we already went deep into this. Ultimate Joker and his friends seem to just be man-children, unfortunately. This is a response to a video on Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Wait, pause.
And I won't mention his...
Hey guys! Is he moaning for his audience? Is that like his shtick? Or like, you know how you call yourself the Supreme Intelligence? Is he like the Supreme Moaner?
Man, dude, look, man, doesn't need it.
So Venom didn't see her as a threat, so he didn't take her seriously. This guy's so dumb, man. His arguments hold no weight whatsoever.
It's not dumb, it's cope. It's cope. Don't harass the mentally ill.
That's not even every time, but hey, it made me laugh. That's awesome.
Yeah, what I meant is that the fake out of, God, come on, Peter's not gonna die halfway through the game. That's what I was referring to, not the black suit. I think this guy could have, I don't know, taken the hint.
I don't think it's dumb predictability. I think it's just fact. Your main hero of the game isn't going to die in a short amount of time. Everyone knows they're going to make it out alive, even if they did technically die. So I guess you could say it was dumb predictability, but that's every superhero that comes back alive. It's kind of like Spider-Man Edge of Time, where he dies at the beginning of the game, or a good way through it, and you're like, yeah, he's not going to die.
Dang, this video that includes both of our videos sounds like mine is sped up, because, you know, it's at 1.25 speed, but he sounds normal in it. Whatever, that possibly says something.
I don't know what he's going on about with this 1.25 speed thing. He's actually the one who has it on in this video.
But even then, that shouldn't mean you instantly die to what's only an enhanced human.
He mentions this here, but I don't understand, because isn't Green Goblin an enhanced human? Isn't Doc Ock an enhanced human? Isn't Martin Lee an enhanced human? So you shouldn't be able to die by these guys by your logic then either, right?
Okay, well, this is something I've well articulated via me reading Craven's most critically acclaimed story, Craven's Last Hunt. Craven, from what the general fan base can conclude in general lore, is a human pushing his limits as much as he can. He takes, I don't know, a temporary hurt, which, like, I don't know, it's like Sisyphus. He's pushing himself as much as he could, his human limitations, to just maybe have a chance. But he's not like the Green Goblin who has just a permanent serum that he doesn't need to keep retaking. Doc Ock, come on. Giant metal arms with, like, enhanced reflex.
Green Goblin is still an enhanced human. Doc Ock, I guess you don't count him as an enhanced human, but he might be just from the fact he's taking punches from Spider-Man, but who knows. Also, the fact he's been close to killing Spider-Man multiple times and actually killed him before, guess what? He's still a human with 4 mechanical arms. A human killed Spider-Man before, but that shouldn't be able to happen, right? Your logic. You still missed the point you were even trying to make. You say he shouldn't be able to die by anything that's an enhanced human, and that's just false.
Should have been ready for him to be this tough anyway, since he already knew Kraven killed Scorpion.
Yes, Spider-Man did see the video of him defeating Scorpion, and I don't feel as though that should have just made him ready since he still doesn't know the full limits of his strength or durability. I don't think that justifies the punch that he blocks. We don't know how hard Spider-Man was hitting him, and I would assume it was still pretty hard, but not as hard as he...
Yeah, you can do
Alright, so he sees him killing Scorpion with ease, and he's like, oh, this guy's probably a pushover.
Yeah, like... He's fought Scorpion multiple times, and if I were to go off of what's known in general lore, Scorpion's not that far off from Spider-Man. He's a fairly formidable foe.
Okay, we're comparing 2 different versions of the character again, but honestly, I want to restate this argument because I don't feel like I handled it very well. So Spider-Man has seen the video of him killing Scorpion. He goes for a face shock and blocks. Now again, we don't know how strong Spider-Man's blow was. It could have been really hard, but not enough to kill him since, you know, he's still a human. We also don't know Kraven's strength at this point in the game, but we do know Symbiote Spider-Man has trouble with Kraven and even struggles to get him off of him. So he should be able to block his punch. He punches and is surprised he was able to block it and gets stabbed in a fatal area. Kraven is a hunter and is hunting humans. He would know where a fatal stab would be. I've heard the knife was poisoned. I actually don't know if that's true, but if it is, that proves my point even more. Cool. They talk more about why Scorpion is on par with Spider-Man, and I'll agree. I never disagreed since he seems he was able to kill him in the first game if he wanted to in that moment. Scorpion is strong, Kraven is way, way stronger. The punch wasn't expected to be blocked. Who knows how much force was in that punch? He might have used all of his strength in that punch. We don't know. There's nothing. No evidence. But still, Spider-Man knows Kraven is human, so I'm going to assume he's holding back. This is all I'm going to say about this.
Oh, brother, and this guy is bashing the own series he reviews.
I disagree with it back then, too. If I disagreed with something in that show, I shared my thoughts.
Oh, well, and with the bank robbery fight, that wasn't really a loss. That was like a draw at generous worse. Sandman failed at the robbery. He didn't get the money. He ran.
He lost. It also determines what you consider a loss. I consider this a loss because he got beat up and then Sandman ran away. I feel this is dumb. He's beaten the Lizard before in this universe, and who's to say you can't beat him with a broken arm? Wasn't he fighting the Sinister Six with 14 broken bones? And even in the comics, he actually beats Lizard with one arm like a beast.
Okay, pretty giga.
But comics? Yeah.
But in this game, similar to Spider-Man 3, the video game, this Lizard got bigger than he was. It's a completely different context. He wasn't as big as he fought him in Spider-Man PS4. The game Spider-Man 2, which I guess I'm paying attention to more than he did in terms of Insomniacs, they specify the Lizard is bigger than he ever was before. So no, that's not really the same context.
Yeah. I actually did forget about that, but again, who's to say you can't beat him without the symbiote? Just because it's not in the game means you have no proof. Argument is stupid. Okay, he's still beaten him before back in his early days. We know almost nothing about the previous time he fought him other than he used the same cure in this game.
Also another thing, he mentioned earlier, like, oh, different universes have different power scalings. Sure, that's true, but like, why are you invoking now Spider-Man 616 for this, like, you know, shitty Tom Holland ass Insomniac Spider-Man?
I did it because he was comparing things in that video as well.
Fine line between love and hate.
Something that makes things easier, not something that's a crutch that he absolutely needs.
Did it not make his fight easier? He doesn't absolutely need it. He's beaten Lizard before without it.
Spider-Man... Dude! Look, man, doesn't need it!
Did it not make his
Hold up.
fight easier? He doesn't absolutely need it. He's beaten Lizard
Doesn't absolutely need it. Look, I'm seeing shots of the tendrils literally doing it for him. Dude!
Like, and you literally showed like 2 minutes ago like how he was literally about to die if it wasn't for the symbiote.
Okay, first calm down, buddy. He's fighting differently because he's in the symbiote, which just made it easier for him to do this. Spider-Man isn't going to fight the exact same way because he's in the symbiote suit. A complaint can be made that Peter didn't beat a villain on his own. Yes, I'm sure that he could have beaten an enraged Sandman that was tearing up New York on his own. I'm sure that he could have beaten a guy that he doesn't know the limits of his powers. I'm sure he could have beaten Venom, by the way, a crack.
Cut context again! I already said I could excuse him not beating a giant version of Sandman, as said when I referenced Spider-Man 3 and Spectacular Spider-Man. More cut context. And that was like the first 2 minutes of the video.
I didn't add the context because you said here he couldn't beat a villain on his own, and he was one of the villains, so I didn't need to add it.
But Miles Morales somehow gets out of his cage in the short time they were fighting, despite his hurt state.
We don't know how long they were fighting. It's gameplay in between, so why couldn't he have escaped his cage? There's no way of knowing how long the fight lasted.
Okay, brother, people could take a rough guess that the boss fight is like, I don't know, has a time average of like 10 or 15 minutes. I'm not gonna pretend that just because some like bad player took 50 minutes to beat the boss fight, I'm not gonna just pretend that the fight took that long. Come on.
No, you can't take a rough guess. It's impossible to know. Are you now making the argument gameplay matters? That's really dumb because it doesn't. Here they just joke on the gaming riff. They actually don't say anything about the fight. They just go,
Because it's past tea time.
Oh, of course, this guy's...
So Miles is craving for his tea, so he just wants to get Pete out of the way so he can go drink his tea.
Yeah, of course, it's the fucking UK. Bite me.
Also, MJ has faster reflexes than Peter for some reason. Like, she jumps out in front of him. Does he just not have a spider sense?
Yeah, he forgot to mention that. He conveniently left that out. Yeah, sure. I literally said...
Yeah, because what's the excuse for that? Yeah.
There is no fucking excuse. Fucking ass clown.
yes, this is cut content from your video. This is not leaving anything out of context. I completely skipped over this. Why do I have to have every single point in the video? I'll mention why I think this is dumb anyway. Venom doesn't set off his spider sense, and if you want to bring the comic into it, it's a thing in the comics too. He's also again fatigued and not 100% physically and mentally because he thinks it's his fault for Harry turning into Venom and doing all of this. Also, I forgot to mention he says this in the game right before the fight with Scream.
Spider-Man, how are you feeling? Anxious? Panicked? I meant physical symptoms. Soreness? Fatigue? Yes.
Scream's a completely different person.
I'm pretty sure.
Herman Schultz is also a completely different person from Montana, so what are you going on about?
Okay, Mary Jane like took on like hordes of them, along with like freaking like boss level, like Venom-esque symbiote.
Why are we talking about this now? This has nothing to do with Peter. Peter is the main focal point, and we're talking about Mary Jane. And yeah, I do think it's dumb that she's able to do all this, but that's not the point. That's why I didn't add it. She has plot armor, that's why she's able to do it.
This is the only Spider-Man story that can be named where he does not get a red suit one-on-one win. I think he might have cut those parts out too. Yeah, broken history. Never happened in another show, game, movie.
This is dumb. Why do you think things can't change in Spider-Man history? I'm gonna go through some points here. Spider-Man in the comics doesn't have children. That's something that wasn't changed till Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. That means they just broke in history. They can't do that. Raimi's Spider-Man has organic webs when his version came out, something that stayed in the comics for 40 years and was actually changed eventually in the comics. They just broke history. They can't do that. Aunt May died in the first game, something that hasn't happened in the comics, and she's been alive since Spider-Man's first appearance. They just broke history by killing her because that's the first version that has done it. You can break history with being the first to do something with the character. This is an incredibly stupid argument. Okay, I also just saw this and it made me laugh, so I had to go find the clip. So Peter and Miles actually do beat Venom together, so they broke history. They're not allowed to do that, but in this game they do it.
I think the point as well is that Peter thinks that the symbiote makes him powerful and that he can't do anything without it, but then he learns that he can actually beat Venom after all without the symbiote.
No, that's what you guys think. No Spider-Man has thought this. They take off the symbiote because it's making him an asshole or because he's gone too far. This isn't a lesson where he's like, oh, I can beat him without the symbiotes, and then he learns a magical lesson that he can beat Venom without the symbiote. That's never happened, ever.
You know, Spider-Man likes Black Cat, but he still wins.
I already explained my Yuri cases, but he doesn't even fight Black Cat in these games. She just runs away from him.
Okay, Sable has never beat this guy in any adaptation. And it's funny, this guy probably took the time to look for one. She's never won. I looked through it too when I was doing research for my comic video.
Sable's beat him in Ultimate Spider-Man. He's outsmarted him because she's smart and she's not weak. We have the Ultimate Spider-Man video game where he got caught off guard and got taken down. They were both unconscious both of these times. And I can compare these because if you're counting this fight against Kraven as fair, I can count these as fair too. Again, she is a mercenary in a fictional world that bends the limits of actual humans. So you're dumb if you think she can't go toe-to-toe with him.
Okay, like look at that crap. You see? Look at this propaganda. You can see it in the title of the video. This is a compilation from season 1 to 2 in comparison to one story.
Yeah, but this story takes place over multiple days with multiple threats.
Look, I could take him going after me, but now this guy's about to go after some random person commenting his opinion. You know, the thing he bitched at me for bashing, well, he's about to do it.
I don't go after him. I just said, how can you call yourself a fan even if you don't give a reason to your point? I only added his name because it's from the #1 Spider-Man fan. That's the only reason his name was added.
Part of the reason as to why we like Spider-Man so much, especially the Raimi trilogy, is the fact that he loses all the time, but he eventually comes out on top. I'm pretty sure that's why Spider-Man is such a likable character, and as to why, like, superheroes like Superman, for example, are unfairly hated. Like, oh, he's so powerful, he's never gonna lose. No, Spider-Man does lose, but he eventually wins. That's not the problem. The problem here is that this Spider-Man never wins without help from an external source, whether it be Miles or the symbiote, and that's the problem with this story.
Look, if that's your problem, then they should have made these guys weaker and more manageable, or make Spider-Man stronger from the start. I'm not even saying I particularly like these versions of the villains, and that's not what this video is about. It's about Peter being nerfed. I'm just making logical points that these guys are bigger threats than you think they are. I'm not looking past that they are stronger than they usually are in this particular adaptation, but it's a different universe, so who's to say it can't happen? It was happening in Web of Shadows with Venom 2. It happened with Miguel from Across the Spider-Verse. He isn't even supposed to be this buff nor strong, but it's a different version from the regular Spider-Man 2099, so who's to say it can't happen? You get what I'm trying to say? This isn't my bias towards the opinion, it's just fact. The game's story should have been handled better, and I even agree with some of your points. You can't even agree with me on anything, and I think that really shows how biased you are. At least man up and admit when you're wrong about something. Whenever I make a good argument, your brain just goes,
I want you to really concentrate on me.
Oh, by the way, he completely cut the Edge of Time segment where, you know, I showed him dying with some respect and some 10-ish minute boss fight instead of like some 20-second insta-stab, but whatever.
Here, you want the context? Here you go.
Oh, yeah, let's end off with another Spider-Man game with a better story. Spider-Man Edge of Time, where Peter straight up dies, but he goes out fighting like a badass in an over 10-minute boss fight against Anti-Venom, who has the ability to take Spider-Man's powers. Just look at the cutscene that at least pays him respect when he goes out.
You want to know my opinion? It was handled way better than Spider-Man 2's, but this isn't about the story. This is about him getting a nerf, so I cut it out. I'm not hating on Peter getting killed here, because it makes sense, but I never said this is an awesome way of how he died and show a lot of respect towards the character. I just looked at it from a logical point of view. You heard it here, folks. If you're a casual and you enjoy this game, you are a dummy. You can't just enjoy a game anymore. You are a dummy butthead if you enjoy this game. You are a cuck that has no friends, loser, scrub, dummy head. Get out of here. This guy is honestly just a loser. I'm sorry, but you're getting bitched at just for liking a game. Grow up, man. I find it funny that the pinned comment is from the #1.
No. None of those things are true.
Your shit, brain rot plot that only dumbins can enjoy casually. Like the game's fan base, I guess the writers are really into being in the shoes of a cuck.
People who defend this game with their lives and act like it's some sort of masterpiece when it's not, who are the cucks? And actually go out of their way to deny the facts of the matter. So when he's talking about those kind of people, he's actually talking about people like you. So I don't blame you for getting all on edge and defensive, but don't generalize statements that aren't as general as you might portray them to be.
Apparently giving your points on why he wasn't nerfed are bad because you're making a counter argument against someone. I also am not defending the game. I'm defending Peter.
Well, there you go. We're giving you criticism for your shitty ass YouTube channel with your disingenuous ass takes, and you're probably not going to learn from them. You just seem like an all-round disingenuous and cucked person.
Again, you're shitting on me for an opinion about a video game. Good job, your mom must be proud. Anyone can't see that these two guys are toxic in this video are blind. Even the one dude that's in the video was going to my comment section throughout the day and tells people that they should watch Ultimate Joker's new video and that this is just bad. His comments are actually really, really funny. He's like, he's not who you think he is. I find that insanely funny. But this is literally the loser behavior I was talking about. He spent time out of his day to do this just to hate on someone. Congratulations. I want to go back to the main point that Spider-Man wasn't nerfed. You know, what this video was all about. So let's also show how this is a weaker version of Spider-Man just in the first game, since that's what we're supposed to be comparing it to.
Take that, Spider-Man!
Let me help you, Martin! I don't want to hurt you! Nothing hurt me! Nothing at all! It totally worked. It's close to another Why? Me? Just trapped in a prison with a big criminal. This... I got you. Hang on! Come in, all right? Get to the window! It's too far. Hold on.
Just brace yourself. Come on, there. I got you.
Go! Go!
Miles, come on. No. We got you. We got you.
That's what man. And on.
Feast. If you want to change the world, you have to be the tiny man.
People act like he was a holy god in the first game and he wasn't getting beaten up, but say what you want, he got hit by 3 humans in the game. I'll leave all the videos for this Peter was/wasn't nerfed argument in a playlist in the description. If you want the quote-unquote full context, there you go. Again, I don't want to stoop to this guy's low and just go say that his video is bad and go watch Crispy Curb's video on this. I don't want anyone doing that. It's again just loser behavior if you just take time out of your day to start hating on someone in a comment section. I joke with my friend now that everything needs to be proven fact and there can't be assumptions. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen, and I find it so funny. It's sad when you make an argument against him or anyone that's on his side defending him in a mean-spirited way. They'll comment and make an argument, and then when you disprove the argument, they step down and don't say anything, which I find insanely funny. Like, if you're going to start the argument and then get proven wrong, either admit it or keep continuing the argument till someone agrees or just agrees to disagree. Honestly, I'm ending the argument here. If you still disagree with my points, that's okay. We can agree to disagree. There's no point in chasing each other's tails around forever and ever until someone wins because we don't have our minds made up. You can't change everyone's mind no matter how hard you try sometimes. But you know what? I did try. And I gave my points why I think this Peter wasn't nerfed, and it was fun because I usually don't do this type of stuff in my videos. And I had fun arguing about Spider-Man content. At the end of the day, it's a video game about Spider-Man that I personally enjoyed. Everyone has their own opinion, but that's pretty much it. See you later, guys. Peace.
Time.